glow the path of my soul. Centuries of darkness dissolve before the shafts of thy luminous help. As a naughty baby, I cried for my divine mother, and she came to me as my guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar. And at that meeting, O my guru, a spark flew from thee. And the God-craving gathered through incarnation smoldered and blazed into bliss. All my questions have been answered with thy flaming golden touch. Eternal, ever-present satisfaction has come to me through thy glory. My guru, thou voice of God, I found thee in response to my soul cries. Slumbers of sorrows are gone, and I am awake in bliss. And if all the gods are displeased, yet thou art pleased, I am safe in the fortress of thy pleasure. And if all the gods protect me behind the parapets of their blessings, yet I receive not their benedictions, I am often left to pine spiritually in the ruins of thy displeasure. O Guru, thou didst bring me to the bottomless pit of darkness into the paradise of peace. Our souls met after years of waiting. They trembled with an omnipresent thrill. We met here because we had met before. Together we will fly to his shores, where we will smash our planes of finitude forever and vanish into infinite light. I bow to thee as the spoken voice of silent God. And so we are looking at today this quality of self-effort. And in the reading, it says that we must really put forth personal effort to draw magnetically on the divine power, right? And if we think about how we become more magnetized in our life, and through that divine power, how we can do amazing things with our life, amazingly creative things, things that we dreamed that we could never do, but they can come into fruition. It's because we're drawing deep within ourselves, and we're tapping into that divine power that magnetizes us, that makes us become divine magnets for all whom we meet. So divine power, it can transform us. It can transform us out of that ego that takes us into negativity, into those downward thought spirals, into materialism, into despair, into politics, into fear. It can take us on that downward pull. And, when we are really drawing on that divine power, we become magnetized to fight the battle of our inner life. And the Bhagavad Gita is an example of the inner battle which we all have. We have this battle between our ego and our true self, right? And that part of ourself that knows, how to take the right steps and come from our higher self. And then there's that little self, that ego self, that says self-effort is, something maybe trivial or mundane, but the big self-effort is, how do we open our hearts? How do we live a blessed life? How do we become free of the qualities that block our way to God? How do we awaken into our energy centers? And how do we become pure channels for God's light in this world? Swami Jyotish, who is a beautiful spiritual teacher at Ananda in California, he talked about he was really, really bothered by this really difficult test. And this difficult test came as he was assaulted by all these negative thoughts. I can't do this. This is never going to work. And he just kept seeing the worst that could possibly happen in the situation, and he had really lost his capacity to see any of that light. And he found this beautiful article, and it said the 3 words that can change your life. And as he was caught in this negative narrative, he listened to this, and he used these 3 words, which were "let it go." And in the end, what matters most, how well did we really live our life? Did we live our true life? Did we live from our true self? How well did we love? Were we able to be good examples of unconditional love into the world? And in the end, how well did we learn to let go? Letting go that what no longer serves us, so that we can come into our true fruition, our true self. And so he practiced that for 2 weeks. Every time it came in, but what about this? I can't let this go. This is not right. This is not. Let it go. And he used that practice over and over and over as a prayer, as a mantra. And he said within 2 weeks, he had felt that narrative be completely released. And he said that in the article that he had read, that neuroscientists say that a new mental pathway is created every 2 weeks. So when we take something so little, like that little prayer, and let it go, and able to apply that when we hear these thoughts, our ego is a persecutor. It likes to talk about all kinds of people, likes to gossip, it likes to create all these conflict. It really feeds on conflict and stress. And our true self just wants peace, just wants to live from our authentic, true nature. I took that one step further, and I had been working with a familial issue, and it was just when the thoughts came in, I also noticed that I had a little bit of a tension in my belly at the same time. And so I said, let it go, let God, and then let it be. And I just was with it. And I just moved into that tension that was in my body and just kept finding ways to integrate it, because our thoughts are fueled by our emotion, right? Our energy and motion. So if we have repressed fear or anger or sadness and pain, it fuels these negative thoughts. And that's why it feels like we can't use our rationale to get out of them. They take over sometimes because they're fueled by these emotions. So there was a time when Swami Kriyananda, Yogananda's direct disciple, his picture is right there on the altar next to Yogananda, this time he was absorbed by negative emotions, and he just kept feeling all these waves of jealousy and anger come up. It was a time when he was living at the ashram in California with Yogananda, and Yogananda had been away. He would travel, Yogananda, and teach and bring the teachings of Kriya Yoga to all different places in the world. And he came back, and he was very busy, I guess, but Swami Kriyananda thought, after he couldn't connect with him, he thought, he doesn't care about me. Maybe I don't really matter to him. He's probably just busy, and his mind just kept going back, but it was his emotions that came with it. It just felt like he was being stabbed in his heart, or, his belly was so tight and in pain. And he felt all this emotional turmoil that was in him. And he tried to reason. He tried to, create this inner dialogue, like, this is okay, but his feelings just kept being like waves. Sometimes tsunamis, they would come up. And we know when we're in that reactive state, it's because old memories are being triggered by a new situation, and our capacity to move into that and allow that to move through creates an integration and allows us to be more and more free, and gives us a stronger capacity to meditate. So this is what Kriyananda said, I went down to my meditation room and I plunged my mind deeply at the spiritual eye for 5 minutes. And 5 minutes was all it took. I focused and focused and focused, and I kept my concentration at this one point of being. And within 5 minutes, I felt completely uplifted. So whether it's letting it go to help let go of our thoughts, or bringing the energy, the vrittis, the energy that gets locked in the spine and then the chakras up to the spiritual eye, offering it to the divine. Two beautiful ways to look at when we get caught up in whether it's mental or emotional conflicts, I would say. And so, when we think about meditation, we think about the first stage is relaxation. We do energization, we do our yoga, we get our body really comfortable in a seated chair with our spine straight. But then the second step is, can we hold this in meditation? Can we hold at the spiritual eye? This opens up our whole frontal lobe, our whole grid, erasing anxieties and depressions. Once we've concentrated long enough through meditation, what happens is naturally we begin to expand, and our consciousness begins to merge with divine consciousness. that we're able to feel the joy, the aliveness, the true connection with God, with our beloved, with Divine Mother. It's through that expansion into that. And Yogananda said the fastest way to find God is through Kriya Yoga, because this is a meditation practice from ancient India. And in Autobiography Yogi, he really talks about this in the Science of Kriya Yoga chapter. It's on page 234. Anyone that's in the Autobiography of a Yogi group, it's coming up in a few weeks. But we'll get a head start on it right now. So I just want to read 2 paragraphs that I couldn't summarize because they're just so packed with such important stuff. This is the promise, and this is a true science that Yogananda brought from ancient India. It is a science that has a certain formula that frees one from ego consciousness and puts them on a very fast route to awakening. He says the Kriya Yogi mentally directs his life energy to resolve upward and downward around the 6 spiral centers, the medulla, the cervical, the dorsal, the lumbar, the sacral, and the coxal plexus, which correspond to the 12 astral signs of the zodiac, the symbolic cosmic man. 1/2 minute of revolution of energy around the sensitive spinal cords of man affects subtle progress in his evolution. That 1/2 minute of Kriya breath equals 1 year of natural spiritual unfoldment. 1/2 of that spinal breath. 1,000 Kriya practiced in 8 hours gives the yogi in 1 day the equivalent of 1,000 years of natural evolution, 365,000 years of evolution in 1 year. In 3 years, a Kriya yogi can accomplish by intelligent self-effort the same result which nature brings to pass in 1,000,000 years of someone who's just going through life. The Kriya shortcut, of course, can be taken only by deeply developed yogis with the guidance of a spiritual teacher. And such yogis have carefully prepared their bodies and brains to receive the power created by intensive practice. And so the Kriya beginner employs his yogic exercise for only 14 to 28 times, which is twice daily. And a number of yogis achieve emancipation in 6 or 12 or 24 years. A yogi who dies before achieving full realization carries with him the good karma of his past Kriya effort and his new life to be harmoniously propelled towards the infinite goal. And so for those of us that are just beginning, it only takes, that 15 or 20 minutes of bringing the energy up the spine through the Kriya breath that can emancipate us within 6 or 12 years, bring us into enlightenment, bring us into divine freedom. It is a powerful way, and it is a way of really tuning into this quality of self-effort to bring that effort into our meditation practice. Last month, I put some effort in and I went to Ananda Village. And Ananda Village is a beautiful teaching school where they teach yoga teacher training, meditation teacher training, chakra healings. There's a lot of people that live there. There's a college. It's a beautiful community, and it's in Nevada City. And it's just one of the worldwide Anandas. And I went there for Spiritual Renewal Week, and it was really beautiful. I got to see so many friends, and so much of it was focused on, inspiration. And the title was, Fighting the Battle of Life, how we all have this inner battle of life. And sometimes outwardly it feels it's really, that outer battle can really draw us out of ourselves, but it's all a reflection of this inner part of ourself. Can we come back to our inner center, our inner sense of self and peace? And so before I went to Spiritual Renewal Week, I had these 3 mornings. The first morning I woke up, and it was in between that sleep and wake state. And in that moment, I felt that I was in the spiritual eye. It wasn't like I was looking at it. It was like it became down, and it was all the same size as me. And I just held that space. And I felt into that experience, into that light. The next morning I wake up, and it's just I'm just kind of waking up, And I feel that I've woken up to having these upgrades. And I was like, something's upgrading me, like I'm a car and there's like a divine mechanic working on me, giving me a tune-up or something, you know? And so I was like, I could feel it happening in me, like almost like I could have woken up from anesthesia when the doctor was still operating, because I was like, wait, this is, and I could feel that inwardly there was some kind of trying to shift my vibration and grow my vibration. And the third morning I woke up and all these little bubbles of resentment, some had memories with them, some didn't. They just started moving up my spine and leaving through the spiritual eye. And I thought, my God, what's going on here these 3 days? And then I left very shortly after for Ananda village. And when I got there, the first morning, you know, there's a 2.5 hour meditation, and it was so beautiful. Like I wasn't fidgety, I wasn't thinking of, I just was able to sit down in this pure sense of beingness and peace and comfort in my body, concentration, and a sense of being in that expansiveness. And I'm meditating with 350 other yogis, so that was very powerful. We all come together in that, and it was so deep and beautiful. But I really felt that Yogananda had been working to help tune me up, to help me get me prepared, to help me be able to really use the self-effort that I had combined with my guru's self-effort to really connect in a deeper way with God and to grow that. And since I've been home, I have been, no matter what, I don't care what I have to do in my day, my meditation practice is my highest priority. Everything else can be scheduled around it. My appointment with God every morning, and to be in that expansiveness, to remember it's so much more than this, is absolutely more and more essential to me. And I feel so much gratitude for this beautiful gift that I received and how it's helped me to be grounded and centered in my practice and with other people. And I'm just feel so grateful. When I had got to Ananda village, our Jayas, he was a leader of Ananda, Rhode for many years, and now he's back in California. And Erin, who was part of our Ananda Sangha, and she ended up going to move to California, but she was giving one of the big speeches the second day of Spiritual Renewal Week, so it's like 750 people, you know, and she calls up Jaya and she's like, okay, Jaya, so me and you are going to be talking tomorrow, you know, I know it's on the battle of life. And he's like, yeah, we're going to talk all about the Bhagavad Gita, you know, this story and this story and this story. And she's like on the phone, like, ugh. And she just like, she said she was just crying and crying. She's like, I don't know much about the Bhagavad Gita. She was thinking she would talk about her battle of life and how difficult it was. And she just said, okay, thank you, Jaya, and hung up the phone, you know, and then she had to go through her stuff. And hopefully she used some of these techniques of letting it go and holding her concentration at the spiritual eye. But she was just, you know, right? And so she put in the little self-effort. She had to do the studying. She had to do the work and stuff. But it wasn't until she stepped out of herself and into that higher self of self-effort that she became an instrument and a channel and started to tune into what the audience needed to hear. And this is the miraculous power of divine grace. And this is what happens to all of us when we step outside of our ego and when we use our higher spiritual effort, the spiritual effort of ourselves. She sat, she meditated, she prayed, Lord, make me a channel of thy love and thy light. And it worked. It was so inspirational and so powerful. You can listen to it online if you want. I'm just so proud of her. And so one more great little story of my friend Christina. I'm her mentor, and she was asked by her friend about 6 months ago to give a talk at her wedding, but her friend didn't mention it afterwards. So they were on their way last week to the wedding, and she was like, I'm wondering if, I guess I'm not going to give that talk, and I'm kind of glad because I would have had too much preparation. I wouldn't have time. I would be so anxious right now. I'm so glad I didn't have to, right? So they're all getting ready for the ceremony, and they, at the end of the ceremony, they said, look under your chair, someone has a beautiful flower. And she said she knew it was her, and she picked the flower, and she said, you're asked to come up and give a talk. And so she was, you know, it was like, you know, she's like, you know, I don't know what to say and do, I don't, you know, and then she just like, wait, let go, step out, step into that grace. And she allowed herself to open her heart and stand before everyone and speak of, she said she doesn't even know what really came through, but she knew that there was a higher part of her that spoke to these people, and that her heart was open, and her love for her friend and her love for being loved and in marriage came through in such a beautiful way. And this is how we become more of a success. We move out of that scared-based self-effort, like I'm going to do this because I'm afraid, to our higher self, our true self. And we allow that channel to open. We allow God's grace. And it is through tuning in. It's through meditation. It's through clearing that channel, through chakra yoga, whatever you may be doing. But clearing that channel is so important, because as Yogananda said, our formula for spiritual success is 25% our spiritual efforts. We got to put it in. We got to put of that 25%, we got to do our best. And the second part of the formula for success is success comes, 25% comes from the help of a self-realized teacher, master, or guru. And then 50% comes from the grace of God. And so tuning into that power, Yogananda said, real success is measured by the extent to which your inner peace and your mental control enable you to be happy under all circumstances. Success in self-realization depends on whole soul effort. So we are all called today to use our whole heart, our whole mind, our whole soul, to put more effort into our life with God, into our connection with God, into our daily appointment to be with God in this beautiful, beautiful way. The time to know God is now. And the more and more we know this value, our life becomes an uninterrupted prayer. The more the devotee knows the value of that constant and regular meditation and attention at the spiritual eye, our life becomes an uninterrupted prayer. Om, peace. Amen. Duty will sing a song for us.
So now we'll take our offertory. Please take what you would like to give, place it in your right hand, and repeat after me. Divine Mother, we offer to thee the fruit of our labors. Bless this offering, that it serve as a channel of thy light to truth-seeking souls everywhere. Peace. Amen.
Please join me in the chorus of this beautiful song to Master. Oh, Master, may thy joy fill our days. Oh, Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. The time has come for us to see, but there's but one reality upon the earth and high above, the truth that all was made from love. A love that calls to us to fly above the hills, above the sky, above the storms, above the pain, a land where peace and laughter reign. us to find in every hour, in every thought, in every flower, a joy that spans eternity, the truth that makes us ever free. Oh, Master, may thy joy fill our days. Oh, Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. Oh, Master, may thy joy fill our days. Oh, Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways.
And now we'll end the service with the Festival of Life.